So it's the beginning of the year, and at the beginning of the year, we all know what happens, which is new goals for the new year. But the question is why is it that when we set these New Year's resolutions and we set these goals, it seems to fizzle out, and we look back a year later and we didn't reach the goal? I want to talk about a little experience that I have and how I had a little epiphany and see if maybe this can help you in discovering a way so that next year is not like this year and we can actually reach our goals. So the big question is this: how do passionate golfers like you and I develop a stock shot day in and day out? A stock shot that's as reliable as the sun coming up in the morning. That's the question, and this podcast is the answer. Welcome to Stock Shot Secrets. So this year, I got to take up 2 new sports, which is amazing because one of them was kind of a bucket list, which is kind of crazy to think about, which was skiing, right? As a professional golfer, I always wanted to ski, but I couldn't because of the fact that I was worried I was going to break my face. So I didn't ski because if I skied and I got hurt, I was out of work, and if I was out of work, I didn't make any money. So I didn't ever ski until this year, which has been so fun. And the second sport that I took up was tennis. Now, tennis was interesting because of the fact that I really, really, really enjoyed it a lot, right? I had a great tennis coach. We had a lot of fun. Leslie I'd take off Fridays after academy. I would leave at 1 o'clock. We would go up to the club, have a tennis lesson, like hang out, maybe even play 9 holes, which was epic. But there was something within this tennis journey that happened that I think happens for a lot of you guys when you're trying to set goals on tackling, whether it's building a stock shot, tackling your putting, your chipping. It doesn't matter what it is. This will apply to every facet of your life with goals. So what happened was I would go to take these tennis lessons, and they were super fun, and like my passion level for tennis was growing by the week. Like I was becoming like not obsessed with it, but I really, really enjoyed it. But there was something missing within these lessons that happens by and large for all players. And that is, it was missing a massive action plan, and it was missing a roadmap as to what I needed to do in the next phase of my progress to keep advancing within this skill. So I would show up for the lesson on Friday, and it was fun, and we would like hit, tennis balls and work on serves and everything like that. But after that day, there was nothing left to then go do for the next week. There was no homework. There was no assignment. There was no like, hey, here's the plan that we need to do. So what happened is like after that 1 hour, I didn't really know what I was supposed to do the other 6 days. And I was actually talking to a player who came in yesterday for a lesson, and he came in, and it's been the holidays, right? I'm kind of filming this right after the holidays, and I was like, hey, how's your golf been? And he goes, hey, to be honest, like I haven't really done anything. And I go, yeah, it's understandable. Like it's been the holidays, Christmas, like New Year's, like you're traveling, but blah, 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 blah. Completely get it, right? And we went and did the lesson, and then when he got done with the lesson, it was interesting because when we got done with the lesson, we had laid out the roadmap or the plan following the program block random compete formula. And now he was motivated because he knew how he was supposed to chunk his time in a 45 or 60-minute block or 20-minute block. He personally has 45 minutes twice a week that he can practice. So we created a practice plan, and I go, hey, man, this is what I want you to do in that 45 minutes twice a week until I see you in 2 weeks. This is what I need to see. So there was like an assignment given, which creates some accountability on either side, because now if he comes in, he's like, I didn't do it. I'm like, all right, well, then I guess we'll just work on the same thing and you can keep lighting money on fire. Or he would say, no, like there's an accountability. I need to get this stuff done for my coach, get done for Coach Kyle, and I have an action plan of what it is that I need to do. It's just like if you go to the gym. I don't know if you're like this. I used to be like this and still kind of am. When I would go to the gym back in the day in high school, and even as a professional golfer, I would walk through the gym and I was just aimlessly walking around. I was like, hey, I know what that piece of equipment is. I'll do that. Or like, that one doesn't look like I can mess it up. I'll do this one. And I had no rhyme or reason to what I was doing in the gym. But it wasn't until I basically hired a pro. I hired an instructor. I hired a fitness coach who is Aaron at the golf room, to where now 3 days a week, he's walking beside me and he's giving me the plan of what it is I need to do, and then creating the accountability in between those sessions. We call that the in-person lesson gap, to where now there's things that I need to be doing inside, like outside of those workouts, to help my progression of what I'm doing and trying to work on for my body, right? Hey guys, I hope you are enjoying this episode of the Stock Shot Secrets podcast. If you are enjoying it, be sure to like this episode. Be sure to subscribe so you can always see when they're coming out. And most importantly, if you would be so kind to be able to share this podcast with other passionate golfers who are trying to get better and build stock shots, because it grows through you sharing it. Thank you so much for tuning in. And now back to Stock Shot Secrets. So the reason why New Year's resolutions never work, in my subjective opinion, is because of twofold. The first is when you guys set goals, right? And I think I read something the other day that said if you guys write your goals down, you're 42% more likely to hit the goals. So writing them down is really important. That's a little sidebar. But the reason why these New Year's resolutions never work is because, one, when you set the resolution, you don't chunk it correctly and you just go like all out with the goal. And so you're kind of setting yourself up for failure. So it'd be like if we picked on, like, let's say a workout analogy. It's like, let's just say the person doesn't work out and they're like, I want to work out. I'm going to set a New Year's resolution. I'm going to work out 5 days a week. It's like, man, that's not going to work. Like, let's try twice. And if you could do twice, then let's scale it up to 3. And then if you could do 3, maybe it's 4, right? But like, let's set a goal that is difficult, measurable, but also obtainable. And when you set a goal, you always want it to be measurable. So if we say, hey, what is your goal? We've kind of posed this in our text line, right? Which you guys can be a part of and you guys can join that. But like, when we pose this question to our text line, we're like, what is the goal? And it was like, I want to be better at golf. And it was like, I get it, but like, that's not measurable. How are you going to measure whether or not you're better at golf? So it's, hey, I have an 82 scoring average, or let's just say I have a 10 handicap. I want to get my goal down to a 7.8 by October 1st. So it's measurable and there is a timeline to it, right? Because now I know whether or not I can define success. And you want the goal to be something that is hard, but also achievable. It's almost like the kind of way I describe it. It's like if I were to come to you and you were to sign up for, let's say, our VIP program. So our VIP program, which kind of goes into a little bit of this, and I can tell you a little bit about it, but the VIP program, those members will drop about 30, 40% in a year. So relative to 0. So if you're a 10, chances are when you get done, you're about a 6. So, and when you say that to the player, you go, so when we get done, hey, we have all the stats. Like, if you're a 10, you're probably going to be a 6 when you get done. They kind of like their eyebrows will kind of raise and they're like, wow, that'd be amazing, right? But it's not something that's like completely nuts. It's not like, hey, when you're a 10, you're going to be a 1. It's like, that's not realistic, right? And if it's a 10, we sure hope that if you were to follow a plan, doing exactly what we're saying, you should be better than a 9. Like, if you're a 9, something dramatically probably has happened, right? Either A, you didn't do the plan, B, you just didn't practice smart, or like something happened to where you didn't reach your goal. So that's the first thing, is we need to have goals that are measurable and there's a timeline to them. And then the second thing, the second caveat to this is we need to make it so that if with the goal and we go, hey, you want to be a better golfer, we go, great, right? You want to go from a 10 to a 6. But then the question becomes is how are you actually going to do that? You need to have a roadmap or a plan, if you will, of how to go about actually reaching the goal in which you are setting out to achieve. So it can't just be, I'm going to hit golf balls. Like, you know, that's not going to work. I mean, it's part of the process, of course. It's just an actionable item. But you need to know what it is. What are the constraints that you need to work on to achieve that goal, and then create an action plan, or we'll say a standard operating procedure, like an SOP, to achieve that goal. And this doesn't have to do just with golf. This has to do with business. This has to do with life. It has to do with health. It has to do with everything. You need a massive action plan to achieve these goals. And what happens is that they don't have a plan, and they don't have accountability, and they set goals that aren't measurable, don't have time, and they don't really keep them in the forefront of their brain because they're not singeing them and burning them. It has to be the deeper yes, because the deeper yes within your soul of what your goal is will always win, right? So, just to be super honest, to kind of share my heart, because we were talking a little bit of working out, like the reason I started to really work out 3 years ago was because I was filming content for you, and I was filming content for podcasts and YouTubes and Instagram, and I was like, man, I'm on television like a lot. The last thing I want to do is just be some ball of butter just sitting and staring at my face all day on a screen. That'd be terrible, right? Like, I want to take care of my personal health so that I can withstand continuing to provide content for you guys. And quite frankly, I can stand the look of my face if I'm staring at it. And that was just being very honest, that was the reason in which I was doing it. It wasn't so much golf related. It wasn't so much speed related. It was about that. But you have to figure out what your deeper yes is for whatever the goal is that you're trying to achieve, whether it's shoot lower scores. Why? If you shoot lower scores, what happens? And you're like, man, I get to beat my father-in-law. And I go, oh, that's the reason, right? Or it's like, hey, I want to do this in business, or I want to do this with my health, or whatever, because the deeper yes will always win. So make sure that when you set goals, they're measurable and they have timelines. Then the second thing is make sure you develop a plan to achieve that plan. Now, if you don't have a plan and you want a plan and you're like, Kyle, I don't even know where to start, right? All you have to do to start is just email me. And I go to these emails, a lot of them come to me as well. Just email me at support@thegolfroomeverywhere.com. And we literally will show you the roadmap as to how to go about building a plan. That's all you got to do. Just one email, and we'll set you up and show you what it is that you need to do for your plan so that the goals and desires are met, and based upon like your financial budget, right? So that's one option that you can do. But whatever it is, make sure that you're setting these goals, because you always want to be advancing yourself and you never want to be stagnant. Hey, thank you so much for listening to the latest episode of Stock Shot Secrets. I would love to invite you to Columbus to come see me and hang out with me and build a personalized plan for you and your game. If you would want more information about building your personalized plan and coming to Columbus and hanging out, just email us at info@thegolfroom.com and we will get back to you and set your visit for an epic red carpet experience at TGR in Columbus, Ohio.